I'm joined here by Frank Bruno. I'm sure everybody recognises Frank. How are you doing this morning, Frank?
Very, very good, Sonia. Mustn't complain. Breathing and keeping out of trouble.
Absolutely. And as we just said, breathing is winning right now, isn't it, my darling?
Definitely, especially this day and age.
Exactly. Yeah. How have you been coping with lockdown, Frank?
I don't really know. It's been very, very confusing, You don't know whether to go out. If you go out, you're going to get arrested or get a fine. You're staying and walking up and down the stairs, walking around the garden. But nice thing about it, I got a nice gym. So it's same old hot tub, steam room, running machine, the bike machine, doing the weights. And I like it. Enjoying it. But I don't like when they say you can't go out. You're like a prisoner,
Yeah, exactly. It feels very restrictive, doesn't it?
Very,
Have you been well throughout this? You haven't had COVID or anything?
Not yet. Not that I know of, but I don't want to catch it. I've had pneumonia about 2 years ago, but never this one. I'm trying to keep out its way.
Right. So, Frank, what I want to do is I want to do an overview of your life, because I think that while you've been interviewed so many times, I'm hoping to capture just a little something different about you. I usually do with people I interview. So I hope to be able to achieve that with you today. So, but I'd like to go back to the beginning, as we, the humble beginnings of all of us. And you were born in West London, weren't you?
I was born in Hammersmith, Queen Charlotte Hospital.
Right.
Stayed there for about until I was about 4, and I got moved down to Wandsworth. So yeah,
right.
May begin from Wandsworth, 39 Barmouth Road,
right?
SW18,
right?
South London boy.
What were your earliest memories of your childhood?
I had the good memories, because I was the youngest out of 6.
Yeah.
I was very, very spoiled by my sister's friends. They used to think that was cute and give me a little bit of money and go and buy myself some sweets, that type. But yeah, I a bigger brother, and I had the good innings as a youngster. I had the good innings when I left my ball school that I went to. I don't feel ashamed and saying I went to a ball school. I'm very much dyslexic, so I struggle here and now, but I'm only human.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because you've talked about how you were an angry child. You were expelled from primary school, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't bring that one in, but you brought that one in.
So
I was expelled, yeah.
Why were you expelled?
I had a dispute with one of the teachers, and I think he was a sports teacher, but sports teachers don't like anybody chatting back to them, not even their partners chatting back to them. But I was asking this young lady if I could borrow a camera to take a picture, and the teacher goes, "Go and get your own." Maybe he was right by saying, "Go and get your own," but I didn't ask him, and I didn't ask the lady disrespectful. I asked her, "Please, can I use your camera?" But the teacher jumped in and started bullying me and tripping me, and he tried to slap me. So I grabbed him by the hands, put him down on the floor gently, and done a run-up. Right. And the next day, the teacher asked me and my mum to come to the school and told me that I got expelled from the school.
Wow. And that is powerful, because your mum was from a religious background, right? She was Pentecostal, right?
Yeah, she was Pentecostal, yeah.
How did she take that, Frank?
She didn't take it too well, because every time she kept on telling me if I don't behave myself, I'll get sent to a bull stool. But I think I got expelled from school when I was about maybe borderline 11.
Right.
And I think to go to schools like a bull stool, you've got to be 12. So I had the time, my mum weren't very happy with me getting expelled, because to get expelled, you must have done something serious. But I didn't do nothing serious, I thought, by just putting him on the ground and doing a runner, because I didn't get all I got out of him, I disrespected him in front of the kids, and he wanted to get me back. But I was very strong for an 8-year-old, and I didn't wrestle with him, just stopped him hitting me and just put him on the floor and run like Forrest Gump.
Run like Forrest Gump. So, Frank, when you were kind of like, hanging out in South London as a child, I think at one stage you talked about how you were hanging with the wrong crowd. What do you mean by that?
I don't know if it's hanging with the wrong crowd. A bunch of my friends, we got together a sound system, like, big boxes and decks and whatever.
I come from that background.
Sorry?
I come from that background. I was a hip hop journalist. No, I was a hip hop. I was a hip hop journalist for
I
years,
still
Frank.
love hip hop. You know,
So
you
do
know
I.
your rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was frustrated, but ours was dub and reggae music and lovers rock. But at the time, we weren't into hip hop. That was slow.
Right.
Hip hop, getting into hip hop at that time. But I love music. Even now, I've got my studio with
Right.
soundproof. I just got it soundproof, and I love music. All the
Yeah.
vinyl that I've got, lovers rock, hip hop,
Brilliant.
bashment, the lot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, I love my music.
Yeah. Do you remember Mastermind and all the sound crews that were out there at that
I
moment in
remember
time?
Coxon
Yes.
and Lord David Ronigan was around at the time, but he
Rodigan.
weren't as big as you know what I mean they are. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was not in that crowd, but South London,
Yeah.
borderline Brixton. I was hanging around with different people, just hustling every single day.
Right.
But I didn't know how to hustle. But my mum always installed in me, if I bring the police to her door, she would, you know what I mean, do me some damage because she
Right.
to want the neighbours to see that her son was some sort of like gangster or whatever. But I wasn't a gangster. All I got expelled from school. And it was a good thing that when I was 12, I got sent to Oak Hall boarding school in Kent or Sussex.
Yeah, in Sussex. I've got it as, so basically it was like London to Sussex. That is a huge cultural shift for you at 12 years old, isn't it?
Very, very, very big. In the countries, all we met was sheep and cows. There was a girls' school in Mayfield that a bus used to pass every time. They looked nice, you know what I mean? But yeah, we used to go through Mayfield, Tunbridge Wells, and then Broad Oak, and right rural. That was, you know, you didn't see you did see people, but you know, they had some wicked houses off the road that we at our Borstal. But we had a good time at the Borstal.
Because you talked about how it was such a change in lifestyle, like you were working on the land, you were cleaning out the chickens, you were working in old people's home, you were camping, and so that must have given you an opportunity to sort of reevaluate your young life at that stage.
I had to, but my main aim in life, I wanted to be a boxer to make money for myself than rather a sportsman. I weighed it up. I couldn't play football, too clumsy, not brave enough to play rugby, and I liked boxing. I liked Bruce Lee, that was my favourite, but Muhammad Ali came into the mix.
Right.
But yeah, I had a really vision and a plan in my head what I wanted to do, and it went down to the T. It got scary here and there, but all I wanted to do is be the WBC champion. Just 1 minute, and I actually achieved my dream.
Of course
from
you
8
did.
years old.
Yeah. So that was when you basically started attracting that energy into your life, right? You sort of put yourself into that mind state that was what you wanted and you were going for it.
I had to put my mind in that state, and I had to let go of some of my friends, if not all of them. I wasn't not on a different level, but to focus and to see your dream, you've got to block out all negativity, all hearsay, this one whispering in your ears trying to talk about that one. I just was channel vision, and I didn't not look back. You know, I mean, I had some bumpy roads here and there, but people don't understand when you get involved in boxing, you got to get up, you got to live it, eat it, and go to the toilet like boxing. And anyone wants to do well in their life, you got to put certain different things, negativity, what is coming your way, and just, I mean, go for it.
Yeah.
And I did, and I've it's a big achievement to win it. I only had it for 5 minutes, but it's a big achievement having a dream from when you was 8, 9 years old.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Do you think that your dyslexia as a child added to your frustration? Did you realize you were dyslexic when you were young?
No, I didn't realize I was dyslexic at all. I didn't understand dyslexic or what they meant by dyslexic. I knew I could read here and there, but putting the words together, I struggled a little bit. But I don't feel ashamed of saying I've got dyslexic, but some things may work for you more better than others, but I've got a way around it anyway. Right. I'll get someone else to do it.
Did you as a child experience racism?
A little bit. My brother, he came over from Jamaica and he was classed as a yardie, but the yardies can be in Sunderland, Newcastle, Scotland, you know what I mean? They all come from that, you know what I mean? But he was a Jamaican yardie, I called him, but he was the best brother you could ever wish for. Right. He used to go and fight with the skinheads in the day when they first came over here from Jamaica. But I experienced racism here and there, but as long as nobody touch you. My mum got someone got to my mum like her number and her address and threatened her to burn down her house and whatever. Having to live with that is called racist. Them things is not right. But I've had people even threaten me from different racial groups. But words and actually doing things, you know what I mean? I don't understand some people in the way of thinking, but I've had some different stories happen to me. But as regards as races, but not everyone's the same to me anyway.
No.
There's good, bad in white. There's good in black. There's good in Indian. There's good in every race you go through. There's a good and bad.
Yeah.
But I've had more good than bad, so I can't really grumble about that one.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, I think, around about 16 that you started really on the boxing path proper, right?
Yeah, definitely. You must be, more than me. Yeah, at 16 when I left school. Yeah. First job was a metal polisher.
Right.
And then working in Granada bingo hall. Then I got a touch and worked in Lonsdale Sports Shop.
What were you doing in the bingo hall?
I was working as one of the workers, man. I was changing the kegs, and I didn't call the numbers, but that's the first job I ever had. No, that's the second job I nearly had. The first job was a metal polisher.
Right.
If you ever know what a metal polisher, cleaning, like on a machine, making sure you get the shine, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, and then put it in the acid and take it out again and put it in another. And I just said, this ain't for me. I'm dealing with acid and all different things and the smoke and the dirt, and I couldn't really take it.
Right.
So I went to work in the bingo hall.
And from the bingo, and at this time, you're training. Where were you training? Was it Earlsfield?
No, the Earlsfield was a young one when I was about 8 to 9. I started training as a junior. I had 3 junior fights, and then I went to a club called the Earlsfield Boxing Club in Wandsworth. But when I left school, I went to Sir Philip Games Boxing Club for about 2 years. I went there, and then I won the ABA championship.
And I mean, I think people know really deep down inside of them what their talents are and what their abilities are. But you were one of the fortunate ones in that you knew very early on. You didn't have to go through like half of your life before you realized what it was that you wanted to do. That's quite a blessing, isn't it, Frank, to be able to know?
It is a blessing, but I'm a very serious guy. If I put my mind to it, I will do it. And I'm very determined. The more someone winds me up, the more better I go. You know what I mean? I don't take much through phrases or this, that, the never does what. I like when people put me down. That gives me energy to, go forward.
Right. So that was a motivator for you, that when people were like doubting you, that was pushing you on.
There was a lot of kids that I met afterwards. You know what I mean? Some of them I've been to their funeral or whatever. Oh. Some of them have done well for themselves. But I met people afterwards, and I met my old teacher, Mr. Irwin. He came to my house, but he said that I had that goal set in myself. I would work, I would dig gardens, try to run up the top of the hill with a rucksack behind me. I would do certain different things to strengthen my. I loved Bruce Lee, so I had him in the background. So I went to the school, and there was much more tougher kids than myself.
Right.
Yeah, so I had to be on my guard from 12.
Right. But you see, the thing is, Frank, I think one of the reasons why people took to you is almost like you were this gentle giant that people felt about you. It's like everybody knew you were strong and really powerful, but equally, they would kind of like be happy to hand over their firstborn for you to give them a hug. That kind of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what has been done. As soon as the baby wakes up, the baby starts crying. As long as they don't send me maintenance fees to pay for the baby, I
don't mind. And so obviously, once you started to break out onto the scene, you were more than a boxer. You were a personality. And go on.
No, ladies first.
Yeah, well, you were more than a person. You were more than a boxer. You were a personality, and you started to become this sort of national treasure very, very quickly, right? How did that feel?
It felt like pressure, you know what I mean? Like it's a nice feeling, you know what I mean? But you can't get too excited over it. But I'm a guy that's keep my feet on the floor, because through life sometimes you can let things rule you and go to your head. and think that you just got to keep it on the humble stage where you're just grateful, but just keep it on just hold it down. Because some people, you know what I mean, they'll fly with it and they lose themselves. You know what I mean? I swore to myself when I was 12, if I got into boxing, if I done very, very well, just keep it real. You know what I mean? A lot of people get a little bit of fame, they get a lot of money and whatever, and they just blow it and get confusion and act very strange. But I haven't changed from when I was young. I have changed here and there. I've got some grey hairs. More than I'm older. I'm 60. This year I'm 60, but
wow,
keep it real. I
amazing.
Just look after myself and train every day. I've got what I've got at my house, so it's like a health farm.
Yeah, it's such a blessing, such an incredible
it's nice.
blessing. Yeah.
Yes, you make a little bit of money, you got to invest a little bit in your happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I think that's absolutely true. What you said is that there was always a sense that you kept your feet on the ground, that you were still very earthed, and that you hadn't. Having been a music journalist, I've interviewed many famous people, and I've seen them go from being completely unknown to being completely famous and turn into absolute arseholes, right?
Sad.
And
sad.
And you kind of just remained, Frank Bruno. The Frank Bruno that people knew at the start. You were there, throughout. And I think that's also why people took you to their hearts as well. And also, I wasn't ever particularly into boxing, but I knew of you, and I certainly knew of your relationship with Harry Carpenter, because
yeah, very good man, very blessed man, Harry was a sort of like a journalist, but he had a little touch that he could do golf, he could do tennis, he could do any sort of like sport. He had that experience that he learned his profession.
Yeah.
And how I got to know him, and I felt privileged to class him as a friend. But we've done some Royal Variety shows together.
Yeah.
We've done some HP advert bits and pieces. So we had a little touch, but he was a nice man, very, very knowledgeable, sort of like guy. And I class him as a friend. God rest his soul.
Yeah, it was a unique partnership, actually, and it was very unique for its time as well. And it was clear,
very
extremely unique for its time, and it was clear.
I felt privileged and called him as a friend because he was powerful. He's very, very small, but his voice was unique, that you could close your eyes and he could be talking. That's Harry Carpenter. That's how famous he was.
Yeah.
And he was a powerful, very knowledgeable guy. Well, we had a script together to do the Royal Variety in front of the Queen, and I was panicking, but he was so cool. Like it was like ducks walk off a duck's backside. He just was so relaxed with me. I was sweating myself. I've got to go on stage with him to deliver a little joke about something. But it was like going in the ring with Mike Tyson twice.
Bless. It really created that much anxiety for you to go on stage.
Sometimes it does. People don't know that, but it does for me. I don't know how I done pantomime.
Right. No, I do understand that. Before you came on to talk to me today, were you fine? Did you feel any anxiety?
No. I'm not nervous of you. No.
Good.
Oh no, that's all gone. No, I'm not scared of you.
But it's a stage. No. But I mean, it's a stage. I'm talking about a camera. Of course, you're not nervous.
I'm not camera shy. I've been so many places around the world. That was when I was young.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not when I left school, I had to be a man. When my dad died, I had to be a man. He always taught me that he wouldn't be there all the time, but he taught me life skills about surviving and looking after yourself and whatever. That's when I was young, 12, I felt that way. But as I'm more older, I've got more seasoning, and I'm a guy that always, if someone's got a good style or a good lyric to drop, I try and put that into my armory. I'm not a thief.
Yeah.
Literally, I won't go to jail, but I watch people. I'm a people watcher,
Yeah, me too. So obviously, once your career started to take off, it took off, didn't it? It's like you were it was just like Frank Bruno was everywhere. And and I know you say that it didn't impact you, but people around you, didn't they start to change towards you?
I'm not really changed towards me. As I said, I'm a little bit of a loner, but I'm a pick up certain different things because I'm a Scorpio, so I'm always checking people before they check me. Everybody that I meet, I wonder what they do for a living. I wonder what I'm not nosy, but people, I try and get knowledge of, wondering how you would do things, your style or whatever. Things that friends were changing around me, but I weren't changing. All I was doing is making the tunnel that little bit smaller for me to fit down there and go on that rocky road that I had to go on. And it weren't easy. It weren't easy at all. As you said to me, I was all over the place, but that's why the promoter was trying to get me involved with tennis, do tap dancing, get involved in boxing, get involved in pantomime to make your career last for, like Henry Cooper. Henry Cooper was the one who paved the way for me to go forward, or any boxer.
Right.
But you know what I mean? It's not only boxing you've got to learn about, you've got to teach yourself, be tough, be very, very blind or deaf to what people are telling you, because sometimes people used to give you a head, mess around with your head, so you've got to be negative. Don't listen to their negativity and just go down that tunnel.
Yeah. Well, when you get to the place that you were heading, you can't be dragged down by that low vibrational stuff. You have to keep rising above it, don't you? I mean, that's like a whole new space.
It is, but it didn't make no difference to me. I just kept on training like I do most days. With this now, I train 3 times a day, but I try to look after myself, this is important. And with all this virus going around, I mean, my daughter's got it, the grandchild's got it, my son had it, his mum had it, but I don't want to get it because someone says if you've got pneumonia, it's easy to get, but I try and look after myself, take the vitamins. Once I go, I've had a good innings.
Yeah, make sure you keep your vitamin D levels up. I mean, I've interviewed loads of doctors and loads of scientists throughout this period. And the one thing that almost all of them agree on is that we need to make sure that our vitamin D levels are up, regular zinc, vitamin C, all the usual good stuff. We definitely need the sunshine. We're told
and the sunshine. Yeah. I go on the sunbed.
You're a troublemaker, Bruno. You're an absolute troublemaker. So let's carry on. So basically, you had dozens of knockouts, Frank. It was just like one after another. You were unstoppable. You were absolutely unstoppable. There was that period, mid-90s, and that was obviously when you said that you were because you were king of the boxing world for that period in 1995, right?
I was a king. I was just one of the hustlers who was trying to make a living out of boxing,
You were world champion. That made you
but
king.
I didn't get it. At the end of my career, I got the world championship. That's why I say it's only for 5 minutes. But how you're talking, it was a rocky road. Sometimes I was knocking them out until the 19th fight that I fought a guy called Broadcaster Sonia Poulton, and there's a first defeat I got. But sometimes I think how speedy I was going, to get experience, you wouldn't get it just running the marathon, and you're running the marathon like a sprint. I had to draw back to the corner, go back to the drawing boards now and again after the Broadcaster Sonia fight and learn the skill and get some seasoning, Because boxing, you can get that person, old school boxer can let me burn myself out. I'm a youngster and I don't know how to pace myself, what I mean? And there's some tricks you've got to learn in boxing.
I mean, that is the thing. It's not just about hitting, is it? There's a whole psychology attached to outmatching your opponent, right?
Definitely. At the weigh-in, wherever you can say something that you can play on his mind or whatever. Some boxers get a little bit below the belt saying about your mother and the things like that, or someone to eat your cat or what. It's very crazy, but that's how boxing is. The slightest, you can get your opponent off guard and make him think about, things that make him sleep. You can, but my motto is just train very hard, get plenty of sleep, plenty of liquid, and go in there and try your best.
Yeah, because you had, if I remember at the weigh-in, wasn't there was it with Lennox Lewis, and one of you refused to shake, if I remember correctly? Have I got that right?
Yeah, I refused to shake because
that's
I don't want to go into detail. It was a long story what happened, but I didn't want to go. When somebody tries to treat you like that and belittle you in that stage, I don't really go for them, play them games. You can say, you can't take a punch, you're useless or whatever, but to say what he said, I thought he was a bit strong.
Right, so it was a personal thing that was going on for you, so it was more than just professional.
And that would be the personal thing for the rest of my life. It's not my cup of tea.
Got ya. So it's about psyching each other out, right? So even before you get into that boxing ring, you already are fighting in some respects, aren't you? Right?
If you got someone tells you got to fight in 2 months' time or a month's time or 6 weeks' time, it makes no difference. You got to prepare yourself to go into war at a day's notice, 2 weeks' notice, 3 weeks' notice, or any notice you can. You're always on the go. You're always training, because boxing is when you keep up your hands and look after yourself, and some come with all different styles, you know?
Yeah. So obviously I was watching some old footage of you the other night, and I've watched loads of old footage of you over the years, but obviously most recently to just catch up on research, really. And one of the things was a conversation with your friend at the time. I can't remember what his name was, but he was describing when you were going into the ring, when you were doing the walk down to go into the ring with Tyson, there was like Tupac Shakur, and they were all intimidating you and doing all this business and everything. Do you recall that?
I didn't recall that at all. My brother's kids, they went to the fight, and that's the first time I fought Mike Tyson. I listened to Tupac, and he's very, very good, but I couldn't even care if it was Toothpaste or Tupac or Mickey Duff or Mickey Mouse. I'm concentrating on fighting a guy called Mike Tyson. What am I interested in, Tupac or Snoop Dogg or whatever? I respect that he had that crowd around him, but I was so naive, I didn't even know who Snoop Dogg was or Tupac. I was so concentrated on my fight. A lot of people said that he had the gangster rap there, and I think some of them walked him into the ring, but I'm not fighting the gangsters. I'm fighting Tyson Fury. Tyson himself.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? So all these names coming out and all them people in the crowd, the promoter must have been good, but my main aim was concentrating on Mike Tyson.
So I want to try and imagine what it must be like. I mean, you're Frank Bruno, he's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
What could possibly go through your mind, Frank, that on the day of, in preparation of? I mean, how do you even keep still when you're preparing for something like that, knowing that the world's eyes are on you, that there's so much riding on it? How do you cope with it? How do you keep yourself in check in preparation?
You got to block certain different things out and just train very, very hard, focus yourself. And you know the funny thing about boxing, I feel much more better now than I've ever felt in my life. You know what I mean? I train very, very hard. I train 3 times a day. I don't need a trainer, because I do need a trainer here and there, but I train myself so I can tell the trainer how I want to be trained, if you know what I'm saying. But I look after myself, and people change when they get a little bit of fame. And I don't want to repeat myself, but I ain't going to change for nothing.
No.
But the boxing game, you will never, ever get any sort of like sport or live up to the pressure of 2 fighters coming together and 2 punchers coming together, and you don't know what way or think the fight's going to go. You know what I mean? And Tyson fight, whatever, it's a very highly stressful, uplifting, on-the-go nerves that there's no way you can go either than forward or run or get a punch and lie down on the floor. Very scary experience.
Yeah, extremely. One of the quotes that you said about when you were starting to prepare to go into the ring was things weren't balancing, things weren't tallying up together. So the walk to the ring was very scary.
Yeah, sometimes that was the last time I fought Mike Tyson. That was very scary, because I had a detached retina in my eye. I didn't know I had a detached retina until after, you know, I'm in the fight. But the only time of the fight that it got a bit overwhelming for me with my eye and whatever. But I went through it. Nothing. Had the operation after the fight. Everything was all right.
But that was that your last professional fight?
Yes, against Mike Tyson. Yeah, that was the last one.
And how did that all feel? Because I mean, you've basically dedicated your life to this, and then suddenly it's not the same that it was. You've gone to the pinnacle, Frank. You can't get any higher than being world boxing, right? You can't. There's nowhere else to go after you've been world boxing champion, right? That in that arena. So that already is phenomenal. I mean, you will be, you know, like, I mean, what would be the percentage of people who ever achieve that level of their dreams in their lifetimes? That's already an amazing blessing, right, Frank?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Amazing.
very amazing, right? But chapter one's gone. You got to go on to chapter two.
Right.
I had a family, and I still got the family, but you know, what I mean, they weren't listening to the radio station I was listening to. And after my fight, I was not too long after my fight, I got divorced. You know,
Yeah.
and that was a bad experience through life. But sometimes you got to take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes I had the good innings, and I still enjoyed myself after I retired from boxing. I've done pantomime for about 8 years.
Yeah.
I was doing different shows here and there, ducking and diving, going to after dinner shows and making speeches and doing what I'm doing. So it hasn't really slowed down.
No.
Only the virus is slowing it down. So
Right.
I'm very contented and very, very happy. Still ducking and diving, I call it.
Yeah, I know you're a ducker and diver. And I refer to myself often as a ducker and diver, even though you called me a rich girl at the start of this, which is not true.
Yeah, but where you come from, where in Wandsworth, Richmond is where the rich people live.
I don't
Richmond
come from.
And
yeah,
I'm
I don't
sorry,
come from
right,
Richmond. I don't come
no,
from
you
Richmond.
don't come from Richmond, but I'm just saying Richmond.
Yeah.
If you say that from Wandsworth, you say Richmond is a very rich area.
Yeah.
Kingston is near Richmond, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got all your boats.
Yeah.
Your boats and your barges and whatever. And
yeah,
not OKR.
not one of them belongs to me, Mr. Bruno. We used to live in Mitcham.
Mitcham. That's where my dad used to work in the cake factory in Mitcham. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so now you get a measure of things, right? So.
Yeah.
And what what you said about the media is a really important point, actually, because what you experienced, you went from one career to another and your marriage breakdown, all this. Lots of people go through that, Frank. What lots of people don't have to deal with is seeing it on the front pages of the newspapers, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I got section once, they called me Bonkers Bruno, Rebecca Way from the Sun. And that was very, very powerful. But I don't really let papers rule my life. I made a lot of money at the papers when they tried to hack me.
Yeah.
It was hacking. When I knew before they were hacking me, because I know some people in that sort of like business and they're telling me the things that would happen, put a bug in your car, you know what I mean, and do crazy things like that. Hacked my phone. That's why I don't use my main line phone. But I told them before that, and 3 years before I told them, and they said that we don't think you're as bad as you were, because I know when I'm in my car how my phone's supposed to thing. But that is another thing. The press, I could never knock the press, because if it weren't for the press, I wouldn't be as famous as I was. But that sort of like journalism isn't nice.
No, because some of it is not journalism, it's journalism, and it's written by prostitutes, Frank. So, these are... Did you like that? Did you like that?
Wicked. Yeah, that's sweet. That's nice. Yeah. It's not... It makes that. Listen, I've had good fun with journalism. I've gone abroad and them chilling out with you and writing the stories. So I'm not writing down all the journalists. That's all like journalism, like Sherlock Holmes, make them feel like they're Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And to see low into tapping people and bucking people and finding stories to make front wave tape. It isn't cricket really, but
it's horrible.
Bad where the government had to step in and drop some manners on them.
Yeah, it's horrible. I remember seeing one of the most shocking things that I saw for you around that period was on TV news when the gates of your home opened and an ambulance came out carrying you because you'd been sectioned. I thought that was actually heartbreaking. I could not imagine how that would have felt for you or your loved ones. What was that experience like?
It was weird, man. When I mean weird, it was like going through one flew over the cuckoo's nest,
Yeah.
When I went in there, I thought, you have a breakdown, some people, you have good days, you have bad days, but to actually be getting a place like that ain't nice. And the injections, what they give you in the tablets, is just Babylonian stuff. Where I don't think you should give that to Saddam Hussein.
No, I understand. There's a lot of problems with the medications. Last interview I saw with you, you were talking about having been off medication for 4 years.
Yeah.
Are you are you off? Are you on?
No, I take a tablet what they give me, but you know what I mean. I just keep myself to myself, and I'll just take a tablet here and there.
I thought one of the most impressive things that you've done is be very open and frank, for want of a better description, about mental health, because obviously you've got bipolar. And one of the big problems that we have in this country is men are raised to have a stiff upper lip about such important issues. And you were just really real and really honest about it, Frank. And that has been so vital. Talk a little bit about that, about, being so open, because that can make you feel quite vulnerable, being that open about your mental health.
You can get things off your plate. I mean, men do not like, women are very, very tough. My mum, I've got to respect her for carrying me in the belly, but men go through a lot of things where they bottle things up. The tension and the stress, what they get, men don't want to come forward. They don't feel ashamed to tell them that they're going through mental health or whatever. It's classed as if you lived on the street and you got an ambulance coming to take it, and neighbors start talking, and it's craziness. But you got to just come out and get things off your plate and be honest, be real to yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. If you're not happy about yourself, do something about it. And mental health is a very loved one breakup, marriage breakup, can't take the pressure, left in the big house by yourself. You go through all these different things, And I had a breakdown, and I had to admit it. It don't look too nice, but everybody else is having a breakdown here and now and going through troubles. Right now, I think there've been more people going through breakdowns and exploding, kids running over their feet outdoors, and their pattern has been changed, But there's no shame about talking about mental health. Everybody goes through it. Girls go through it. Rally drivers, footballers, anybody can go through having a breakdown. There's only so much that your brain could take.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's so vital when somebody as famous as you is prepared to speak about it, because it immediately destigmatizes it.
I will talk about it for the cows come home. I'm not a believer in what the aftercare people, or what the places that you go in and the tablets what they give you. I don't agree with it. The injection, what they call the depot, or the kosh, the licorice kosh. I don't agree with them sort of like different things. But that's another story that I'm just glad I'm away from them people, because I don't like them people at all.
Because I've known people who have been under that level of heavy medication, and it's impacted them so much. It almost changed them as people. How did it affect you?
I think sometimes it made you look like a zombie, or feel like a zombie. When I first got sectioned years ago, Seven Kings, whatever the places, they sent people over to give me an injection, and I was monged out. Really monged out, and it was like a zombie dripping on my lip. The side effects are unbelievable. People don't really dig or take these things. They think they know about it, but if I'm a boxer and I'm supposed to be super fit and I'm telling them that the medication ain't that good for me, they don't want to listen to that. It's a system what they got, and they all eat from the same pot, and they don't keep. That's usually like a guinea pig. And I've been there where they section me over times and over times before, about 5 times. I don't agree with the medication what they're giving you. Makes you just mong out, sit on the couch, you can't even get out, and your brain, I don't think it's good for your brain. A lot of people.
No, and it affects everything about you. It affects your intimacy, just like the way you feel about yourself, all of those different things, your personal relationships.
You're talking from experience. You don't have no trouble with mental health, have you?
No, I have. I had a breakdown at 30, and I to me, it was a breakdown that led to a breakthrough. Right. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful to have had it, Frank. I don't think I'd be the person I am now. I rebuilt.
Is that a Bristol accent? Or?
Yes, Gloucestershire.
I think I've said this.
Gloucestershire.
In there. Yeah, wicked, yeah.
So that's why I think it's so important, because we've basically shoved this away in a cupboard, and I've seen how important it is that I've had my experience. And when I interview people, they're so relieved that I understand what it means, that I don't see it as a stigma. To me, some of the most strongest, most essential people have been through some mental health difficulty, and they've emerged the other side.
I respect you for saying that, man. I respect you. Very nice.
Thank you.
And ease.
Good. I want you to feel at ease because there's nothing wrong with what you've been through. It's just that
Yeah,
it's been held up for everybody to see it. I mean, you telling me they wrote bonkers, what was it, bonkers Bruno on the
yeah,
Sun?
yeah, yeah. They did do that. I didn't get to see it because at the end of the day, I was in one flew over the cuckoo's nest. I was
Right,
locked away, so I didn't see it at all. But I think
right.
that people backlashed on that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I
Right.
think Rebecca Wade into a little bit of trouble. But that's when journalists was trying to look for Sunday News of the World was trying to look for stories, and they you know what I mean. They would do. They're very no, not evil people. They
Some
wrote some
some
beautiful
of it is. Some of it
yeah, they
is
wrote some
wicked.
nice stories, but it started getting into the nasty stuff. You know what I mean? Just try to get deep and get horrible, and they give someone a bit of money to go and stir trouble just so they can get a picture. That
Yeah.
journalism I don't like. But journalism like yourself, I don't want to hack no one, trip anybody up. I think that's good journalism. So
Yeah.
keep talking, man. We talk all night, all day.
Good.
No problem.
I love to hear that. So when you were
Mm.
going through that period, were you paranoid when you were under those influences? Because I think I'm pretty sure I heard you say something or somebody say about you that you thought at one stage that the secret services were plotting against you. Is that correct?
No. It weren't nothing at all. I did get paranoid about myself because I went to the local shop and most of the people that I knew was like putting their head like that, keeping the weight and say, here comes a nutter. So I did
Oh,
get a little bit paranoid in that way, going out the house, but not paranoid. I had to build myself up again because I was left in a big house with a cottage, 75 acres of land, and I had to get myself together. They just came and gave me the injection, and I
right.
was monged out, could hardly get off the seat, and I had to build. I was left there by myself when I
Oh,
got divorced, not looking for no sympathy.
no, I
Sometimes you have a
understand.
breakup, and the marriage don't go through too well. The kids went with their mum, but I was left in the house and just come out of a mental institution. They left, gave the injection for a month, and every month. And after about 3 months, they came knocking at the door, so I didn't answer the door because I
Yeah.
couldn't take the depot what they were giving me. So they didn't come back. I got moved out of the house, so I got rid of that. But I moved down to Leighton Buzzard. It's a different cup of tea.
Right. So, but I'm trying to imagine because I think at one stage, not only did the ambulance come in to section you, but the police came in as well, right? I'm
The
trying.
police as well, and helicopters and all sorts. Yeah. Shame, innit? When I'm young, a youngster, my mum said, never bring the police. And I did it once.
Oh,
And the police has been to my house, and I'll try and say to them, please don't come with your vans because people are going to make up allegations of this and the devil knows what. But ambulance, helicopter, all the
yeah,
press outside my house, how shameful is that?
yeah,
But
that's.
that was yesterday. Yeah, not yesterday, but yesterday, yeah.
I know, and the thing is again, it's about. See, I believe that life is colourful by its very
Yeah.
nature,
Mm.
right? And yours is colourful, and we all know about the colour that's
Yeah.
in your life.
Can't do nothing without not even I can yeah. I don't mind my life being because that is part of the service that you got to give. You know what I mean? You got to have the ups and downs and be in a position to take the ups and the downs, especially when you're down. Because when you're down, it's harder to get back up again.
Yeah.
But I'm just on the middle, and enjoying life. You know what I mean? At the moment.
Right. And I think there was a middle period because you were very healthy, obviously, when you were boxing and you were training to be a boxer. And then after that period, because there must have been some sort of void initially. You've gone from having to be so disciplined, a fighter, and then suddenly your life has changed almost overnight. So how do you
Yeah.
adapt? How do you adapt to that then?
That by the money that I made, I got myself a running machine, a rowing machine, and a bike that you work your arms and your legs at the same time. I got 3 punch bags
Right.
at home. Got a gym where I got to take the running machine out the front room to have a little gym separate to me. I just built a music room. I'm a frustrated DJ, so
Yeah.
I have little different things that keep me happy because it's soundproof
Yeah.
and the neighbors can't complain at me. So I just sometimes when I'm down and whatever, I just go in the music room and just play some tunes. And I done a little bit of DJing, hip hop, R&B, and a little bit of lovers rock thing. Some people like the bashment, but some people can't understand the bashment. But I've got a good life. You know what I mean? The house is paid for. I've got two
Nice.
nice cars out on the drive. I don't owe no one no money. And some days are rocky, some days are good, some days are bad. But as long as I'm breathing, I don't really mind. I can breathe and go duck and dive here and there. I'm doing the Frank Bruno Foundation. I've got a boxing gym in
Tell us about the
Northampton.
foundation.
Yeah, it's something to help people go whatever. People like yourself, we just had a chat. You told me about something personal to you, but we're going to meet people the same. Hopefully, that we can talk and get the best out of them and get the stress out of them and put them on the rocky road to wherever they want to be. You know what I mean? It could be anyone from 10 to 75 just coming in the gym if they need help, if they need some guidance. We can have some. We've got some rooms down there, beautiful gym. It's all set to go, but with the government saying that you can't go out here and now, we just got to wait and see. But it's a beautiful gym. You should come down there.
Love to, absolutely love to. So, are you talking about people from disadvantaged backgrounds? Is that
disadvantaged background? People going through mental health where they can't go and see somebody or chat to somebody. Like yourself, sometimes when you unload certain things, you admit that you went through this and the devil knows what. You do understand how people do, but sometimes people are so brave and so private, and sometimes people can be so wicked at the same time. If you tell them that you're going through, they can bully you in your workplace. It has been known. People try to bully me and say, "Here comes a nut" or whatever. But I don't. Certain people, I just take them with a pinch of salt. You know what I mean? But talking about someone's mental health is very, very delicate because my trainer took his life. It weren't very, very nice. That's why I take mental health very, very seriously. You know.
Yeah, it's really important too. And again, it's one of those things because it's invisible. People tend to push it to one side. But the problem about your mental health is you can keep ignoring it until the day it tells you it's not going to be ignored anymore, and then right, and it all comes on top. And for you to have to go through, I think, were you sectioned? So you were sectioned at least 3 times, weren't you?
I've been sectioned about 5 times.
Wow. I mean, it's just, I cannot imagine. You've literally gone from having so much power and so much control, because obviously when you're sectioned, it's like the power and control's taken away from you, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't like the thing called section, because I'd rather be sectioned in my own house, because I'm not dangerous to myself. Right. I'm not dangerous to anybody. I haven't got a rule. I haven't got a tick. I haven't got a police record saying that I've disturbed anybody. You know what I mean? Right. But these so-called people that, you know what I mean, take it to these places, they've got so much power. It's embarrassing, and they don't know their arse from their toe, half of them, you know. But you got to go and do what the majority say, what they tell you you've got to do, because it's another system. Yeah, and that's what I call the Babylonian system.
I understand exactly what you're talking about. Exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And it is, isn't it? It's a system that once you get caught in it, you know, it's like it's difficult to get out of it, because it's almost like, I know people get sectioned, they say obviously to protect themselves and protect society from them, etc. But there are lots of people who are being sectioned, who being sectioned isn't the thing that should happen to them. And so what they're doing now, obviously, is as a complete overview and review of the Mental Health Act and how we go about this, because sectioning is problematic. In many respects, it's almost Victorian, isn't it?
I would agree with you, you know what I mean? Because in the Victorian days, I don't think they sectioned them. They put them in salt baths or whatever. But the section, the protocol, what you got to go through to section, you strip you down, and your dignity and everything is taken away from you. And it's embarrassing to go to a place like this, and they don't know their backside. It's a crazy old world, but you know what I mean? I think we're on the same page, you talking, but I don't want to make this a chat with you over mental health, because I've got things I could tell you, but I don't think it's the right time to get involved in how your system has, you know what I mean, treated you. But that's another story, another day.
Right, but you've survived the system. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, I've survived. I'm a fighter. They can give me what medication they want. I've got some tribal scars from the medication they got. Busted my ribs, nearly cracked them, and got some scars from them taking the tablet from them, hitting myself, nearly knocking myself out. Them trying to wind me up for me before I get my tribunal thing. That's some nasty stories happening, but I'm a fighter and I will get through. No matter what they give me, I will do my press ups and keep strong, fit body, fit mind.
That's right. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. So now, Frank, so obviously some of the people that you've met been incredible, but one of the people that I'd like to ask you about, just because I think it must have been a shock to you when the revelations came out, was Jimmy Savile.
Yeah. I tell you, Jimmy Savile, I'm going to take what he done or what allegation that people are talking about him. I don't know. I've never experienced him having that sort of like whatever. Some people might have that, but he was a good boy, Jimmy. He was very, very straight to me. Very, very powerful. I didn't see. I was shocked when I went to his funeral. I've known him over the years. He gives you the right. You could go to him and ask him about certain different things. Similar like yourself, you seem very, very knowledgeable. And he's a good boy. But I don't. After when he died, I'm just shocked. I was shocked. And certain people around him, even his PA lady, was shocked. That's why she said that word, Jimmy. But it's amazing how somebody could have this in their mind. They go wait till someone's dead to talk about the man. Why don't they talk about the man when he's alive so they can get justice for themselves and get justice for him? Because it ain't a nice thing to have that. You got to go to your grave and someone's coming out that he was this, he was that. Why didn't they come out with it?
Right.
But I didn't see signs of that. You know what I mean? I thought he was a ladies' man because everywhere he went, now and then, and you know what I mean? He used to go in hospitals. I never saw nothing. What happened? So that is a very, very strange thing what happened there. But I didn't know about it. So if he has done it, my deepest sympathies and understanding to the families that might have done, or the girls or the women or whatever. But trust me, from my heart, I never seen him do anything like that. Or sometimes you go in the hospital, there's nurses, and he would have a little laugh, and the nurse would have a laugh with him. But I didn't see no action going on, or nothing that would say that I would put him in that category of whatever you want to call him.
Right. Obviously, the thing is that, you know, people who do certain things, they're very, very cunning about it. And there's no way that they would necessarily allow those around them. Certainly, if you're not that way inclined. Anyway, I've done loads of work into like paedophiles and child abuse and everything. And
you've done work, yeah?
Yeah, I've done loads of work into that. I made a documentary called Paedophiles in Parliament, which I would.
Whoa.
So, and the point about paedophiles in Parliament, it was to look at the historic allegations and some convictions in Parliament over the last 40 years, and what was going on in the establishment, and how the establishment is from royalty, as including royalty as well. As you can imagine, quite a controversial film, Frank.
Yeah, you're brave, girl. You're brave. I'm sure. I'm surprised I haven't seen the boys around.
well, they kind of have actually, but that's a whole other story. Maybe one day. Maybe
you're
one day.
Girl.
Well, no, I don't know about that, but I feel, like I say, I think that my breakdown personally was like the start of my life in many respects, and I created a whole new foundation. And
good on you.
It takes a lot to knock me off my stride these days,
good
right?
On you, man. Good on
right.
You.
So thank you. We're closing in soon now. But just briefly to go back to Jimmy Savile, because one of the pictures that always shocked me the most was that image of you. You know what I'm going to say, Frank?
Yes,
that
it is uplift.
Shocked me.
Yeah, it shocked me as well, because I knew it was I met, I think the Craigs was there, and some people that have done some crazy things. But when someone puts their hands out to you to shake you, I wish I could just dropped it a little bit more differently. But I got, when Jimmy took me to the hospital, I met some people or whatever, where he put his hand out to me, and that's one of the biggest mistake I've ever met in my life for what he'd done. I watched a program the other day about him, or what he'd done about all the families, all the women and whatever. A wicked man. But he's not here now, but boy, I do that. When someone puts their hands out to you, what am I supposed to do? And I wish I'd never done it, but I've done it, and I think the press have got their mileage out of it, but it wasn't meant as my friend or to be nice to him or whatever. But one of the weirdest moves I've ever done in my life. Shake the man's hand.
It's so weird how this stuff becomes something else, because I think I read that you didn't even realize there was a picture going to be taken, and the point that you were
I went in the hospital just to see some of the nurses and see some of the patients or whatever. But when someone puts something upon you, that is the evil side of someone taking the liberty of me, because they didn't have my interest at heart to be known that will go in the system. But wicked Satan.
Yeah,
Satan.
Absolutely. Let's talk about something much nicer as we're coming to the end. So I think you've recently been in the States, actually reuniting with Mike Tyson. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What have you been up
this
to?
was very, very strange. Me and Paul, the PA guy, the guy who set up the thing. We went to America. 2 days it took us. We left, flied, went to bed, got up in the morning, done the program for the documentary, and just went off and got. 2 days it took us to get to Miami. But what a beautiful place! Yeah. Beautiful place. And we met up with Mike, and he's on good form. Yeah. I hope he can stick to his word by saying that we'd love to do an exhibition fight over here, so we can make some corn. But I don't think he'd be allowed back in England. He might get into Ireland.
Is he not allowed in England?
No. Allegedly, he took a woman up to his bedroom at 1 o'clock at night time, and him and the girl was playing tiddlywinks, and he got a little bit wrong, and the girl said that he raped her, so I think he went in prison for that.
Wait, well, I know that situation. That her name was Washington. I remember that situation. How does that have him banned from England? I don't understand that.
No, the women's rights would say that he's a woman. They say he's a rapist for doing what he done. Right. I don't know whether the girl was trying to make some money or whatever, but when you go up into the room with a man in his room at 1 o'clock at night time, what are you going up there for? To play chess? Yeah. Or bazooka or one of them games? Yeah, it's half a dozen of the other, but he's not allowed in England at all. He can go to Ireland or Wales or that, but I don't think the law will say the woman's rights will come out and they'll run him out of the country.
Right. Because that is a really vulnerable situation when you're famous. The amount of women who are around, and all famous people go through this, don't they? Where they
go through it, but at the time in my early days, I was married for a long time, and I knew my wife, so I see women there, but sometimes you got to play. You pretend you're not looking, not looking, but I think women are very, very beautiful. You're beautiful creatures, so I'm allowed to look as long as you don't touch.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. So what are you up to today, Frank? What's the rest of your day entail?
Today, I've been to the gym already. After you, I'm going to try and get some breakfast and just potter around. You know what I mean? I've got some Jamaican food from Luton, some rice and peas and some soup. I was going to eat all that. But I'm glad. I'm not too sure. Are you happy with the interview?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Anything else that you'd like to add, that you'd like people to know that, about you at this moment in time?
It's just a foundation. If they could just dig up the Frank Bruno Foundation, because I'm going in like Ray Charles, but I just want to make a difference to the people in the area and just have somewhere where people can come down, have a chat and get things off their plate, do a little bit of exercise. If they don't want to do that exercise, they can come in there and sit down, and we try and talk to them and get a chapter into their life and help them along. You know what I mean? They're gonna probably it's a wicked gym. It's all done and it's all up to date. But I've got a lot of experience in life, bad and good and up to the hill, been kicked down. So I've got a lot to offer. And I'm not asking for no money. We're just asking for people just to come down and make people aware that the Frank Bruno Foundation is now open, but until the government say that you can go out there and do whatever you've got to do.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, Frank, I just want to say thank you so much. We're a young, new platform, brand new tube, but you are welcome on this platform anytime to come and join us. And the staff and production staff want to say hi to you. Senior founder wants to say hi to you. And, we really appreciate your time today, Frank.
Thank you very much, man. Look after yourself.
You too, my darling.
And stay strong.
And you
Who
too.
Are me, Bummy? Who are?
Everybody, Frank Bruno. Take good care
Thank you
of
very
yourself,
much,
Frank.
ma'am. Thank
Take
you.
care.